Hello and welcome back to the Villa podcast. Just me, your solo host, Dan Wiseman, my good friend Dan Morgan, my very, very loyal co-host, is away on a very, very well-earned holiday at the moment. So if you're missing him as much as I am, make sure you leave him a comment down below because no doubt he will be tuning in all the way from sunny stateside in Orlando. But there's a part of me that wishes he hadn't tuned into today's event at Molineux because it wasn't an all-timer, was it? Wolves, of all teams, Wolves continue to be Villa's bogey team. We've now gone 5 games without a win against Wolves. Interestingly, that's now 5 games without a win against Wolves for Unai Emery as well in all of his Premier League career. He's never beaten the Dogheads. That's now 5 games, 3 draws, 2 defeats as Villa come out 1-0 losers, thanks to a headed goal from Totti. And it was a game in which I think that goal sums it up pretty nicely, to be honest with you, because I never really feel like we compete against Wolves well enough at Molineux. I hate to reduce football down to this, and especially football when, you've got the likes of Julian Lopetegui and Unai Emery on the touchline. But it always feels like they want it more, whether that's home or away. It always feels like in those physical battles, we come out on the wrong side of those margins. And not necessarily in the second half, but I think in the first half, particularly in the first 25 minutes. That's kind of what happened to Villa. I thought we really struggled to put together our usual passages of play. I thought we looked a little bit sloppy. It wasn't quite as refined, I think is the right word. And passes were going astray. There's a moment where, to sort of summarize it up, Bertrand Traore kind of drifts in from the right wing. He's got the ball on his feet around the halfway line. He looks for a switch to Alex Moreno. He's sort of advanced well into the Wolves half. And the pass just kind of dribbles along the halfway line. Moreno can't get back to keep it out for going for a throw in. And those kind of moments, as insignificant as they may seem, are in a derby moment. That's going to whip the fans up. That's going to get the crowd up. Like they're all going to be taking the piss out of the Villa. And it started from minute one. And I just never really thought we competed with that. And you had this corner routine. And look, that's just Wolves' second headed goal of the campaign. So it's not fair of me to come on here and say, we know what they're like from set pieces, yada, 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 because they're not great. But Villa aren't great at defending from corners. And that's the point, is that we've conceded 9 goals from corners now. And it's sort of preceded by this little tussle between Dawson and McGinn, which the referee blows up. And it always feels like you have that going on in the box before a corner. You've got 2 players who are tussling. It gets a bit too physical. The referee blows his whistle, stops play. It always feels like 2 things happen. A, the players then go back and always carry on because football players are bloody stubborn. Neither of them wants to back down. So that tussle came, and I feel like it's the focus of everyone's attention. The other players around them, the referee, and the fans, they're all watching this tussle, which the referee has just singled out for our own entertainment. And it's a very good header. I think we need to preface that. The way he sort of gets up to meet that ball and then heads it, I think it's JJ that's closest to him, heads it well out the reach of Emi Martinez off the bar and in. It's a fantastic header. And I do think we need to sort of take that with a little bit of a pinch of salt, because I don't think, you probably won't see a better header than that across the Premier League this weekend. And, maybe more often than not, he doesn't get under that well. It doesn't come off the crossbar. It goes in a few inches higher. And this game looks completely different. I felt like we improved in the second half, for what it's worth. I do think there's some positives to take away with that. I think we scrapped well. I do think we got better in those sort of physical battles, which we were definitely losing in the first half. There's that really big chance for Tyrone Mings, isn't there, about 70 minutes from a set piece of our own. Douglas Luiz sort of clips the ball in. Mings is rushing onto it, side foots the volley just over the bar when he should really do much better. Especially as, he hit the back of the net just a week and a half ago in that game against Fulham. Diego Carlos is back as well, which is great. So happy for him, because it's been a long injury layoff after a ruptured Achilles, and to see him back is really, really good news for Villa. We need squad depth in all positions. It's why I think our season is starting to peter out. It's why ultimately we're here now on the back of two successive defeats. We're now behind Brighton, who beat Manchester United. Spurs won today as well against Crystal Palace. That game at Villa Park next week is a must-win, really, if we are going to save our season and keep this alive. Because, look, Villa have been suffering from their own success for a little while, in my opinion. I don't think any of us could have expected what Unai Emery has done when he first came in. It feels almost reminiscent, doesn't it, of that Dean Smith charge to promotion after Steve Bruce was sacked in the Championship. And I think the message to Unai would have been what it was to Dean Smith. Look, come in, galvanise this squad, which is underperforming, place it as high as you can, and we'll go again next season. And we've been put on this crazy run, and now because we've had a taste of the success, we were as high as 5th at one point. It feels a little bit harder to take. But I do think we need to ultimately calm down. I think a lot of us knew that this trip to Wolves was going to be a tricky one for Villa. A lot of us know the Wolves were the bogey team. And even in this run where we had to go to Old Trafford, we had to play Spurs, we had to go to Anfield, that was the game that I was really worried about. And yes, it's a little bit of a shock after that 3-0 win against Newcastle that we never really kicked on from that. There's the draw against Brentford and then the win against Wolves. And I think finally, after putting all of our energy into this amazing run under Emery, 10 games unbeaten in the Premier League, we've sort of finally started to pay the price of that. And it's good that we're starting to get the players back from injury. You know, not only Diego Carlos coming back, but Bubkar Kamara came back on, Leon Bailey came back. And look, I know that guys like Leon aren't, you know, Felipe Coutinho, I should mention, is also on the bench today, but I know Leon continues to, I don't even know if he divides opinion anymore. I think the opinion is pretty set amongst Villa fans. Just having an option is so great. Making sure the players don't have to play the 90 minutes would have been so beneficial in this run to Villa. But unfortunately, these guys are probably coming back, honestly, maybe a week too late. If they come back for that game against Man United at Old Trafford and we have them back for that, perhaps we don't look so leggy. Perhaps we can get more. That tiredness potentially explains why we weren't able to stand up physically to Wolves today. But look, what a season it's been. This will be a season, I think, regardless of what happens under Emery, and I do think there's a big future coming at Villa Park for him. Regardless of what happens, I think we'll always look back on this charge under Emery in a similar light to what we did with Dean Smith when we got promoted. I think the parallels are all there, and he's totally got my respect. And I've had all of this Villa side, every single player, for what they've given us in this run to improve the situation of the club, which looked so dire. There was such a disconnect under those final few games of the Steven Gerrard regime to put us where we are today. Even to conceivably think we were in it, and we still are in a position to get Europe. I think we can kind of sympathise a little bit with Arsenal fans here a little bit, because they feel already that the season's gone and they're still within a shout. We don't know what's to happen. We still have to play the 3 teams that are above us in the Premier League, in Brighton, Spurs and Liverpool. Those are our next 3 games. We don't know what's going to happen in those. Yes, it's going to be tough, but so was going unbeaten for 10 games, and we have these players back now. And it all starts next weekend at Villa Park. Who knows? A big win there. We don't know what that could trigger. But it is a frustrating one today. And I understand the frustration that I'm seeing on social. And I understand why Villa fans are upset. But as always, I just implore people to look at the bigger picture, to look at what Villa have achieved this season. Look at what Unai's done with such a difficult situation and how exciting the summer looks. The transfer links have already started to rumble in, and you know that the Villa fella is your best place to hear more about those. So that's it from me, guys, today. I think I don't want to say too much. I don't want to say too little. I don't think there needs to be a huge amount of overreaction to this game. I think it's just all eyes on that Spurs game. They're only 3 points ahead of us at Villa Park. Anything can happen there in that 3 o'clock. So there will be a preview. I know we said that after the Matteo Alemany video this week, but we're down and flying away. It's been a busy week at work for myself. I wasn't able to get one done, but there will be one next week. I can promise you that. So look forward to it. Again, unfortunately, it will just be a solo episode from me, but all the stats, all the bats, everything you need to know about what might be one final charge from Uno's boys towards a European campaign. So guys, as always, make sure you leave a like, drop a comment below on your thoughts of this game. I'm always in the comments replying to you guys. So if you want to have a little bit of chat about today's game, that's the place to do so. Send your well wishes to Dan, who's, he's the driving force behind this podcast. He's got an absolutely incredible work ethic and he's taken some very well-deserved time off. So make sure you drop a comment to him down below as well and subscribe for the run-in. But if not the run-in, definitely the transfer window, because that Dan and I are the number one guys in that regard in the Villa sphere. Stay safe, enjoy the bank holiday weekend, and I'll see you next midweek of the Villa.